Hello and welcome to the Morbius Minute, the only podcast that's 1 minute long and delves into the intricacies of the TV show, movie, Morbius. I'm Spencer Crittenden, and I am joined today by Kevin Day to talk about the movie Morbius. Last time we talked Morb, Kevin hadn't seen the show, but it's been so long that there's no way he didn't have time to watch it. So, without further ado, and I won't be talking for the rest of the Morbius Minute, it's Kevin Day.
Hey everybody. So I have not yet watched Morbius because I'm kind of enjoying the memes as is, not having any context whatsoever because I feel like that's funnier. So no, I have not yet watched Morbius. Do you think it's time I should, Spencer?
The camera's stuck on me, and halfway through your talking, I was like, would it be funny if I started like talking like it was supposed to be you, like it was your voice coming out of my mouth? I don't think it made any sense. I don't know. I was focused on that. So what was your question? I'm sorry.
So I have not yet watched Morbius because I thought I was enjoying the memes and the internet culture behind it without actually having any context. But I feel like maybe it's time now that I have seen it. Do you agree with that?
I agree with you're a fool. You're a freaking fool for not watching Morbius. Are you kidding me? Anyway, so Morbius is back in theaters, you guys. It was in theaters all weekend. I don't know when it'll be back, but after you finish the podcast, or hell, fuck it. Turn off the podcast. Just go see Morbius in theaters right now, Add to that $85,000 box office for the weekend. Really exciting stuff. So, I mean, people have talked about this, but whatever this is the problem with Hollywood, Kevin. They have no vision. They don't have a single fucking clue. No one has a single fucking clue between them. All these people, and it's not everywhere in Hollywood, but it's certainly at Sony. And certainly at Sony's movie division and stuff, they are without a clue. They don't know what they're doing. All they can do is hope to catch some cheap heat and then go, let's just do this for the end of the time. It's the stupidest people making the stupidest decisions possible. And I won't even credit them with that with the Morbius stuff, because you got to believe that there's just some guy at the office who's like, hey, check out these memes, and then some executive is like, oh my God, what did we do wrong? Morbius must be so much bigger than we thought. Like, how could these memes all possibly be ironic? Side note, what is a human being? Like, what are people? I don't understand any of these things, but clearly people want Morbius, so we gotta give the people what they want. The most, I can't believe it. And it's just like, I don't know. I just was listening to a podcast. They were talking about how successful gamblers have skin in the game. And I don't think these executives have skin in the game. It's not their backs when things succeed or fail, because all they do is give notes, and then they can just scapegoat whoever they want for what ultimately amounts to their own decision making for something that barely affects them. And I think that's how you get situations like this. You just what's his name? The Twist Master, M. Night Shyamalan. He started self-financing his movies because he needed to feel that he had skin in the game, because there is just when it is your own neck on the line, you will make decisions differently, because it's not well, why don't you go try this and come back to me? It's no, I'm going to die. This is my house that I mortgaged to make this movie. Having skin in the game, I think, changes your decision-making process. It completely changes, how you approach an issue, even if you don't feel like it does. But I think that's a big problem with Sony, and these movie executives certainly had something to do with Morbius. None of the people who said, gotta go back in theaters, would have anything to gain or lose from it. It's just, they'll still get paid. They'll still have jobs. I looked like you wanted to say some stuff, Kevin. You want to go off?
Well, no, I was just curious, how do you think a movie like The Room would be different if Tommy Wiseau had not self-financed it? Taking what you're bringing to a little bit further, would movies like that have come out differently?
No, a movie like that can't come out through the studio system. They would be like, well, this is a crazy guy. he doesn't belong in this room. Please leave. And that would be the end of it. Like, I mean, yeah, like I think there's, obviously it's good to work around the system because the system is designed to, punch out anything interesting. And it turns out that people like interesting things. They don't like, the kinds of things that studio executives think are interesting. Like, because those people, I don't know who it was. I'm sure the person was really good and nice, but it was just, he was one of these suit level people. I think this guy was actually good. Like, I don't remember him being a shithead or anything, but he was like, I'm really interested in infused waters. And it's like, fucking, you can't be taste making in Hollywood if like your passion is infusing waters with fruit in your home. Like, that's so far removed from like normal. And that's the thing. Those people will get in the room and say like, what about middle America? It's like, motherfucker, you make infused water. That's what you think is fun. It's like, you don't understand anything about any rational human being. Like, you think this is like a good way to spend your time. Like, you think, I don't know. It's just, you have to be so far removed, to do, I don't know. And if you like infused waters, it's fine. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like the idea that's like, hey man, that water, what you get in the hotels, I've decided that's my passion. Like, that's just such a weird, I love the water at the hotels. It's great. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to steal a joke for Twitter. This is Spencer's stolen joke from Twitter. Moment, but so this is actually, it's not even a joke, it's actually serious, but it's serious Morbius facts. And that's for the movie Morbius. Jared Leto spent 15 years preparing for the role of Michael Morbius. And if you want to know more about this, just Google Jared Leto 15-year-old for more information. And that joke was stolen by @MeatExperience, who was referencing Jared Leto's pedophilia. So yeah, that's a fun format of joke where you say something like, innocuous, and then you give Google search terms that reveal a terrible truth. Like, like policing such a dangerous job that police say that, they think in any given situation, there's roughly a 50% chance they could die. Google police 50% for more information. And if you do that, you'll probably find the statistic, more than 50% of cops are guilty of domestic abuse. So, it's that's the kind of thing. It's like this. And that's why it's not like a joke. I mean, it is. It's like, speaking of jokes, you guys heard about these murder vans, these Chinese murder vans? That's a thing that I think people take very glibly, and it's like, I don't know, it has become a joke because it's so crazy. But when I was talking about it in the beginning, I was like, no, this is crazy shit. They're killing people in vans without a trial, and then they're harvesting their organs. It's like, that's what Chinese murder vans were. It's not a joke. I wasn't bringing it up to to be like, this is so hilarious to me. I fucking love this shit, But anyway, I don't know, man. I've talked a lot in the 2 minutes we've been live, but I don't know that I have a lot to say on a podcast. I've been in bad mood all week, terrible mood. Don't want to talk about it. But what I do want to talk about is we had Rob on the show last week. Very great episode. Thank you so much to Rob for coming on the show, especially after his recent bout with COVID. And yeah, so because of Rob's recent bout with COVID, I did not want to have contact with him, but I did want him to try sodas on the show. So I was like, hey, I'll drop some sodas by your house. I'll put them on the porch or whatever the fuck, whatever. It'll be great. And then you can try the sodas on the show. It'll be funny. And, it was pretty good. It was, I don't know, the soda tasting thing. It's not about them being good. It's a passion of mine, and I explore this passion. But, so he was like, hey, you should hang out. And I'm like, well, I'm afraid of COVID, and you just had COVID. And he was like, whatever, it's fine. We can hang out outside or we'll wear a mask, whatever. And I'm like, I don't want, I'll probably just drop the drinks off at your house. But I don't want to say he pressured me because I don't think it was too much pressure or whatever, but I think he pitched the idea a few times. And then, when I got to the house, Kate was out there out front, and she like waved me down, and I was going to drop off the sodas, but they were like, oh, let me show you the house and stuff. And so they showed me around the house, and then I ended up staying outside of Kate's backyard, or Rob and Kate's backyard. And I was talking to Kate for a while, and Rob was just in the house. We talked about it a little bit, but he was kind of hiding in the house wearing a mask because of COVID. He was worried, which is good, so good that it's like, that's why I don't want to come in the first place. It's like, it's even better, even more safe is just not having contact, which has been my MO for the whole pandemic. And it served me pretty well. My backup, before I landed on Morbius, my backup intro show pitch was going to be like, hello and welcome to The Last of Us, the show about the people who haven't yet got COVID, and then I would like tell Kevin to fuck off because he's a pretender. He actually did get COVID, so he doesn't have anything to say on the show, but Morbius, it's good. It was probably a better move. Speaking of Morbius, I said some stuff I regret on the last Morbius cast, which was, I said they had this insane line. The line was the girls who was talking about how she accessed Morbius's computer, and she was like, "Please, my first instinct is to bite back is your password to everything," and that's not what is said in the movie. The cam rip I watched was really poor quality. The sound quality was really bad, and so I did not hear correctly, but it sounded so clear to me that I was like, this is an insane thing, and I never questioned it, but I should have questioned it because it was such an insane thing. The problem was the whole movie's so fucking batshit insane that like it didn't even leap out at me. Oh, but it did, otherwise I wouldn't have remembered it and brought it up. But it didn't strike me as like crazy strange. But I re-listened to it, and in a better rip of the movie, and what she actually says is, that the first 6 digits of pi backwards is your password to everything. The first 6 digits of pi backwards. So, he's supposed to be the super smart scientist guy, and that's like this really stupid fucking terrible reference to like something that seems smart. Which is, do you know the first 3 like what are the digits of pi? What can you remember?
3.141569, and that's as far as I can go.
Yeah, I think it's 3. So if we start at the decimal, which I assume they did, it's 3.141596 or 26. I think it's 62. But so those are like, that's really basic. Like, smart people know like literally hundreds of decibel points of pi. There are contests to recite them and stuff. But like the idea that he's so smart, he knows the first 6 digits of pi and can put them in reverse order for his password. Like, it just is such a miss. But it's not as insane as what I thought it was, which honestly makes the movie worse. It's way better of a movie if his password for everything is my first instinct is to always bite back. I think that's a really good password to put on all your secret Morbius files. Anyway, so I was talking to Kate outside. Rob was hiding. We were both wearing masks. And it was fine, but when I was leaving for the night, I was like, every fucking day, you guys, I get these allergies. I don't know if they're allergies. Maybe I do have COVID. The tests say no, but my heart says yes. But, for the past like months, I've been having allergy symptoms, very, very mild, stuffy nose, not even runny nose or anything, mild sore throat. And every day I'm like, oh, it's not just the same symptoms I've had for the past few months. I get COVID this time. And so when I left the house, I was like really freaking out that I got COVID because I was having the exact same symptoms. And it turned out to be fine until Rob texted me. Is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I tested positive for COVID again. And I was like, Rob, you said when you were on the podcast that you were at a party. And he didn't even respond to that. Like, but he said like at some point he's like, I gotta get back to this party. And like, I was like, even at the time I was like, why, you just had COVID, you're at a party? Like, that's insane. And obviously, I was a little bit miffed that it was like, oh wow, he infected me, I'm dying, but so far I haven't tested positive. Like I said, I was wearing my N95 mask. They were wearing KN95 masks, probably fine. I trust my N95 mask with my life, man. I have a bunch of them, and I will say, they're not in a shortage anymore. You can just buy these. You could buy them at Home Depot. You can buy them on Amazon and do it. Just buy it. They're so comfortable. They're so protective. It's so great. It's so great to be all like, I have the shit that the doctors had when they were dealing in the hot zone, you know, of COVID in the COVID emergency rooms and stuff. This is what they had. I guess sometimes they had face shields too, whatever. But, you know, these are the masks that those guys stayed safe with. And I can just wear those now. There's not like a weird embargo. There's not a weird shame associated with buying them anymore. You know, you can just buy them. And then you could go into places. I mean, I know you guys, people listening to this, are already going into places. Like, everyone's just fucking back to normal, you know, coughing in each other's faces like we always used to do back in the olden days, you know, and just laughing and laughing. And I think we could really go back to society as normal if everyone just wore N95 masks. But, of course, no one wants to wear a mask, whatever. It's all terrible. But anyway, I was a little miffed, but I was more like, but you were at a party. Why did you, even if you thought you were better, why is that like, come on, like, just be a little safe. And it was kind of funny because in the conversation, he was saying like, yeah, you know, it really was a wake up call. It was like, I guess we can't just go to parties anymore and not wear masks and stuff. And it's like, and that's what he said to me before we did the podcast. And then it's like, well, yeah, but you just said, you know, you just said. It was just so weird to me. I don't know. I feel like I'm being gaslit by the whole world. You know, everyone's like, it's safe, and it's not. It's not safe. It's not safe at all. It's very dangerous. It's maybe more dangerous than it's ever been. Well, dangerous in the sense of getting COVID. Maybe not dangerous in the sense of COVID causes complete organ failure as often as it does. I don't know. But, you know, the other thing is the fucking numbers aren't there anymore. We don't know any of the fucking numbers. They're hiding all this shit now. Like, they used to be, doctors would come on and they'd talk about this and people would write articles and be all like, oh, look at this. And they just found out that. And if you eat this, then it's good or whatever. Or if you know, take these horse tranquilizers or whatever the fuck, you know, you're safe. I don't know. You know, but people used to be saying stuff. And now everyone's just like, nah, it's fine. Callie told me that UCLA Health, which is like a, you know, a health system, Confederation of Doctors or whatever the fuck, they sent her an email that said, good news, COVID is now seasonal now. It's no longer pandemic or whatever. It's become seasonal. It's going to be seasonal in the spring and in the fall. And I was like, no, it's not. People stopped caring in the fall and then everyone got sick again. And then people stopped caring in the spring and everyone got sick again. That's not seasonal. That's people stopping caring because the government is failing us and telling us that you can just go out and kill yourselves now. That's a completely different thing than seasonal. Like, it's not going to go away. Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe it will. You know, I'm not the arbiter of all reality. I don't know everything, but it could technically go away. But it's not going to go away because people just think it's fine now, and so everyone's going to get sick. Delta can't. Delta was like the airlines that were like, woo, you know, it's in the middle of the flight, it's safe to take off your mask. Delta fucking cancels all its flights constantly now because everyone's fucking sick. All their employees are sick. All their pilots are sick. All their flight attendants are sick. Everyone's fucking too sick to fly. And they're just like, you know, maybe you should require masks again or something. There's like, no, we're just going to cancel all the flights and also not refund anybody. Like, it's your fault that we did this to ourselves. We are paying you. You are paying the cost of this. It's all fucking insane. I don't know. No one respects reality anymore. I think that's a big problem is that, like, Republicans were like, well, reality is not important. What's important is we just say whatever we want and attain power. And then, so I think everyone's just like, well, maybe that's true. Maybe I'm God. Maybe I could just start walking on air. You know, and it's like, no, it's not. It's not true. You can manipulate people like that, but it doesn't change the reality on the ground. And I don't know. I think we're just like departing further and further from like people just having a basic grasp on reality. And I don't know. It's just hard. You know, it's the cultural signals are everyone around us being out, acting like it's normal, sends this kind of cultural signal. You know, I've talked about how humans are pack animals or creatures. We're social creatures. So we're getting all this social signals that it's safe. And it's really hard as these social herd animal creatures to tune that out and to go like, wait, but the science is saying the opposite, because the science isn't a guide. The science isn't, culture around us, suffusing our language and sense. The science is just data sitting on a table, And if people are operating with that science, then it doesn't really have a lot of cultural power. I don't know. It's really bad. And there was like a shooting every single day this week. It's just, I don't know. The thing is, obviously, there's been a lot of shootings before. A lot of them don't get reported and stuff, but these are more like high profile. And also, I think in the wake of Uvalde, however you pronounce that, I think there's a little bit of increased intention on shootings than there has been. But I think it's really dangerous. I talked about how, I think this is the Civil War. This is just war. People are just going to commit shootings all the time now, and they're not going to be stopped, and then we're just going to die or not. But like, the thing is, like, the more, and we already have been, but the more we get desensitized from shooting, and there's another shooting. There's been 3 shootings today. Oh my God, there's a shooting every day of the week. The more it seems like something that just happens, like rain or car accidents or traffic, the more it'll be seen by crazy, shitty people as a normal response. The more it just becomes like, oh, I'm having a shitty day, I guess I'll go commit a shooting. Like, I think before it's like relegated to the far fringes of people that are like, I'm really willing to blow up my life. I'm going to go balls to the wall, often for political reasons or something. I'll write a manifesto, whatever. But I think as the more it gets kind of normalized an everyday part of our life, it's going to be embraced as an everyday option that people, choose in life. And I think that's kind of, I don't know if it's maybe too early to say that's what's happening now, but I think like as it just keeps being like, yeah, I mean, this is going to keep happening. I think people are just going to be like, maybe I'll commit a shooting today. And that's really bad. That seems like the kind of thing that will really have some strong impacts on the concept of society. I don't know. What do you make of any of this, Kevin?
I don't know. I mean, I still kind of believe that the world is a kind place and people do overall mean well and everything, but it's hard to balance that with watching what's happening in the news lately. I think people have become more selfish. I feel like, violence tends to breed more violence, and the more we focus on it and the more it becomes part of the news cycle, the more people are tempted to do it because they, I think at some level they want that kind of attention. They want that level of notoriety, even if it is negative. So, I mean, I feel like we create more of our own problems than there actually are, but I don't know what the fix is for that. There's no way we can tell the news, hey, stop covering these things or don't give this person attention because, we've decided that it deserves attention.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I do think that, especially in the wake of all these shootings, I do think that it's like, yeah, if we really just every single day report on the shoot, which is, I don't know, I'm not saying we shouldn't either, but I think like every single day, if we are reporting, I think it does have that effect for sure. I guess I probably also agree on some level that people are kind, although I don't know. I'm a pessimist. I think it depends on the day, but just to take you at your word, it's like, sure, I think more people are kind than not kind, but there's the famous saying, all that's required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And I think we've seen quite a few kind people doing nothing the past 10 plus years. And that's also the kind of reason why things have devolved so far, and I don't know. Rick Caruso is, a looming Trumpian threat in LA elections right now. He's gunning for mayor. We have this weird primary system where if one candidate gets more than 50% of the vote, they just win outright. There's no kind of general election between the two candidates. And also, like primaries and special elections and stuff are generally underattended compared to general elections, and midterms are also in general, less attended. And so, it seems like it's at least a real possibility, a real threat that he could just somehow, win off the backs of, weird MAGA Beverly Hills idiots. in this primary and not have to run in the general at all, which would be really bad because he's this Trumpian nightmare. He used to be like a police guy. He got fired for some shit. He is also just like a billionaire, like developer. He owns Americana at Brand, which is a mall, shitty mall, whatever. I don't like it. I was always a Glendale Galleria guy myself. I'm sure this will be very resonant. These folks out in Connecticut are like, yeah, Glendale Galleria. That's my shit.
That is a nice mall.
Yeah, I love it. Americana, the parking's hard. It's like, it's all spread out. I get lost. It's just, there's a train, it's just, there's too much going on. Galleria, normal ass mall. Give me the Galleria. I'll take that. But he's a piece of shit. He really is running on the Trump playbook. The only thing is he is registered as a Democrat at the moment. I'm sure he's, a Republican and has been for most of his life until trying to enter California politics, because a lot of Republicans run as Democrats in California, especially the more liberal areas. It's very common. But pro-cop, pro-gun, he's running as pro-abortion, but he's been anti-abortion and gave like hundreds of thousands of dollars to anti-abortion groups. Really bad, very bad. The only silver lining is no, there's no silver lining. No, the only silver lining is that mayors don't actually have that much power in LA. Like, the city council is a much more powerful governing body. But if Trump showed us anything, you can really do a lot with what little power or, nominal power that, people perceive you to have. So I wouldn't expect that to stop him at any stretch. And then the other thing is just like famous people like Katy Perry just recently endorsed Rick Caruso, and Gwyneth Paltrow did as well. And it's like, I don't know. I think of myself as a pessimist, but I must be an optimist, because I really thought that Trump would have been made, rich people with the time to fucking, research or send their assistants to research or whatever the fuck. I thought they would have at least a bit like a slightly more enlightened view on politics moving forward, because they would have been like, wow, Trump really sucked. I thought it was going to be fine, and it actually sucked shit. So maybe I won't just, phone it in. Maybe I'll do like the slightest bit of due diligence before making moves. But who knows? I mean, I'm sure he's bribing these people to get these endorsements anyway. It's a nightmare. It's not good. I mean, I don't know that I'm confident, but I think he won't get the 50% threshold in the primary. If he does, like I said, he just wins. But I think it's possible that he doesn't get it. But who knows? Because if as many people are tuned out as Katy Perry, he probably will win. And, it's not safe betting on people being not fucking idiots. That's a lot of negatives. It's a safe bet that a person's going to be a fucking idiot. That's what I mean to say. But yeah. Let's have a minute of silence. No, okay. Okay. What's your deal, Kevin? What's your deal, huh?
My deal? I don't know. I mean, you got me thinking though of like, there's a lot that goes on in the world that I dislike. There's a lot in the world that you dislike. I feel like though that quite often I just feel powerless to do anything about the things I don't like. And there's the line from the movie, what is it, Slacker, that, withdrawal and disgust is not the same as apathy.
Right. And
to an outsider, it might look like you or I are not doing anything about things. But at the same time, we may have just reached our point of, wow, this is just a terrible situation. And there's literally there's no button I can push that's going to make any meaningful change whatsoever. So I'm just going to back off for my own mental health and let somebody else deal with it. And I think maybe that's kind of what happened with Trump. And that's what happened with some other politicians as well, is that just, there was just so much going on. And the level of craziness and just absolute chaos that was happening during the election cycles became the point that it was just disgust from a lot of people, and no amount of doing anything was going to change it. So a lot of us just sort of stepped back and went, whoa, I'm not touching this. And I think that's how we've ended up in some situations that we're in right now. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you follow misinformation, if you understand dictatorships, fascism, if you understand Putin, which a lot of people don't study Putin and don't know what he's been up to. I think, I talked about this a lot, but I really don't think people understand like the true depths of like what Russia is doing. It's really bad. And it has been for years. Like Putin's whole thing was there is a terrible crime, and just like the oligarchs just could disappear people and kill people and take their properties and just absolutely had the run of society. And Putin came in and was like, hey, you guys answer to me. I'm the mob boss. Give me 10% or whatever the fuck. And you can keep doing whatever. And like, that was his like opening move was like, I am the mob boss of Russia. I am going to cheat elections and kill people and do whatever it takes. But I don't think people know that. I think they're just like, oh, bad president. It's like, it's way different. But part of what he did is with the strategy of flood the zone. Like that's the point of disinformation, isn't just to tell people truth, falsehoods or truth. It's not, their goal isn't just to say like, oh, this kid is, there's cat boxes being put in children's schools because a kid identifies as a cat, which is like anti-trans propaganda that they're putting out. It's not just to convince people like, oh, they're putting cat boxes in schools. It's to be like, what the fuck? I'm changing the channel. And that is like, it is to saturate the market with so much shit that it's like, no, this isn't healthy. I am going to withdraw. I am going to stop paying attention because it's like, I don't want to fucking sort through all the layers of shit. Like it's a nightmare. And I think I love patterns. I love being smart. I love trying to like notice stuff and think, like figure things out, problem solving, practical problem solving. And so like, I kind of dig into a lot of this stuff. And when I find connections and stuff, I feel smart. So I think like there's something about me that makes me kind of want to dig into this stuff, even though it's like really bad and off-putting. But I think that's me. Like I don't think that's normal. I think the average person has that like walk away reaction. And speaking of walk away, there was during the 2016 election, there was a campaign called the Walk Away campaign that was promoted by Republicans as an attempt. It was like AstroTurf trying to convince Democrats to walk away, to not vote in the election. And I don't think that campaign specifically did it, but it's like that is their goal. They want to just tell you to walk away. Like it's not, you can't do anything about it. It's fine. Life will go on. Don't worry about it. And that's an intentional ploy. Like I agree that that's happening. It's not happening accidentally. It's happening because people want that effect and are trying to create that effect in the world. And it's like I said, it's in the fascism playbook. I'm pretty sure Hitler did shit like that too. Certainly in Soviet Russia, they did that. But obviously in modern day Russia, they have a lot of, they have the IRA, right? The Internet Research Agency or something. That's like the disinformation wing of the Russian government. Like it's something they put a lot of money into. And they don't even have to be secret about it. We can be like, yeah, this is our disinformation campaign. It's our arm of the government that does this. We have that. And it doesn't inoculate us against it to know like, oh, I wonder if this is that group that's job it is to do this. It's like, oh, wow, did you hear the news? They're putting cat boxes in kids' schools. Speaking of kids, Ohio, I don't think it's passed into law just yet, but Ohio's Congress just passed a law it's a trans ban on girls sports, and it means that they're so fucking crazy. It means that if anyone is accused of being a trans woman, trans girl, I don't know, as opposed to biologically a woman or a female, a girl in kids sports, they have to submit themselves to a health inspection by a doctor where the doctor, looks at their vagina, their genitalia, and inserts their hand into it to feel around for ovaries. Like fuck. Okay. So that's rape. That's sexual assault. This is a law that mandates the sexual assault of anyone who is accused of being trans, and knowing full well, you could just say that. You don't have to have evidence. There doesn't have to be any backlash on you for doing it. You could just accuse any girl of being trans, and then they either have to quit sports or they have to willingly get raped by a doctor, which is just fucking insane. And that's just like, that's what it's evil. It's just pure evil. And I just like, And it comes from like these propaganda campaigns that are ginned up, and they call it a culture war, but it's not a culture war. It's, human rights under assault. They're already trying to take away abortion. I keep thinking that like they already did, but it's just they announced that they were gonna. Like they haven't actually made that decision yet, which is a weird. I'm not to make light of it or anything, but it's all so fucked. It's like really, really bad, and it's just like it hurts so many people. I don't know. I feel like I had a train of thought that I lost. It's horrifying. It's just horrifying, and I agree that there's not a lot of things we can do. The problem is it's just complicated, and no one has really made it easier. And I don't think there is an easy solution. I think everyone wants an app. They want like a place to plug in online, and they want like simple answers. But it's like you really have to go and join in-person groups and just start doing a thing, whether that's a political movement, activism, mutual aid, or whatever, campaigning, door knocking, that sort of thing. Like those are the things that actually get results. But not only is that a hard pill to swallow, but it's also like, but where is that? How do I find that? I really think that that's something that we need to spend a lot more effort on. Maybe that'll be our thing, Kevin. We could join the group that tries to do that. Like, it's just getting people who are sitting in their chairs to know where to go with, because if I wanted to, for instance, do anything, like I would pick a group and I would, try and contact that group, or I'd try and find out where that group gathers or something, but you'd have to pick a group, and that means you have to know a group. And so it's like, I think that first step is like the hardest step for a lot of people. Like once you go to an in-person meeting, probably the barriers start coming down. It becomes a lot easier to see yourself in the situation and stuff. But like, how do you know what group? How do you know that there are groups? Like there's someone in my Discord, the Patreon Discord, the good Discord, I like to call it. I don't like to insult other Discords. That's never something I've ever done. But I like my Discord. They're the good Discord. There's a person in it that like, I really would love to find a mutual aid group that I could hook them up with, because I think, I don't know. I think they could, the mutual aid group would want to help the person's situation, but I don't know how to find something like that. I don't even know where to Google. But that could be, there could be an answer there, there's an Everytown gun control kind of website, Everytown USA or whatever, there could be like, the first step or your first step or something, that's a website that people know. That's what it is. And it's just kind of like a Yellow Pages or something for like actual good groups, and then you can help yourself get connected. I think, the pitfall there is you don't want to get it gamified or hackable, and also you don't want to create a database that someone could abuse. It's like a list of targets to one of these many mass shooters that are everywhere now. So it's like I'd want to protect people and stuff, but I think that's a huge part of the problem. And obviously I don't think that solves the problem, because the biggest problem is inertia, is knowing that you're going to take a risk, spend some effort trying to do something, and understand that it may well fail. I think it's just really hard to figure out. I don't know. I know there's a group that deals with homeless outreach called SELA in LA, but I don't know of any group that does that in Burbank. So it's like, oh, should I be involved in Burbank where I live? Should I go to LA and be involved in LA where there's arguably a bigger homeless population, and a lot more people that need help? It's just, that's kind of my issue. And that's not going to be solved by a website. I could find answers and stuff, but I don't know. I think that's a big part of the problem. Like I said, I don't think it's a silver bullet or anything. I just think that's one of, any stumbling block is going to make people say like, let's just watch Morbius, I don't know. Not feeling good. Getting ranty today. What's up, Kevin? What have you been up to? You have a life update?
Let's see, life update. Really, no. I've just been working a lot. The weather's finally turning nice here in Chicago. I don't feel like I have to be in the house, so I've been venturing outside a little bit. But really, that's been about it. Have you gotten up anything this week?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I did very much. Like I said, I was really bummed. I was really depressed. and I stayed in the house a lot. Gas was fucking expensive. You guys hear about this? I'm feeling the pinch of the pump. I'm finally feeling the pinch of the pump. I don't really have a job. My Patreon is my only source of income that right now is about, enough to pay for my rent, and that's it. So I'm still losing money. I'm in the negative, which I'm not complaining about. I'm not in dire straits or anything, but as a person who is not making money and is losing money, it's like, well, you should really start to think about stuff. And so my main joy in life, which is not good, it's bad for the environment, whatever, go fuck yourself, is driving around. And it's like, I don't feel like I can drive around like I used to. It's a bummer. Like anytime I'm driving, I'm like, probably just go back home. Like I don't do what I used to do. And it's just not good. I don't know. I haven't been exercising. That's part of why I'm feeling bad, I bet. It's just, you need the oxytocin or what, I don't know what the fuck you call it. You get endorphins from exercising, you guys. It helps you feel better if you feel like shit. I know it's sad to admit, but that's the reality. What a bummer that when you're depressed, you don't want to do fucking anything. And then it turns out the answer is to move, is physical exercise, uncomfortable physical exercise. You exercise much, Kevin?
No, I was actually about to say that. Like, I know everyone says you get this like endorphin rush after some level of exercise over enough period of time.
High.
I've never felt that in my life, ever. There's something wrong with me.
I've gotten runner's high, but I'm more just talking about if you exercise even semi-regularly, even just walking, as opposed to just like driving anywhere or whatever, it just does level you out. Same with eating healthier. Like if I'm eating healthy, I just feel mentally more good. Like I don't know like what the causation is there, but this is well documented. It's not exactly the runner's high thing. It's just that I crash much harder. I have lower lows when I'm not exercising or being healthy in any way. Whereas if I am, I just am tending to kind of be able to handle stress more healthfully, stuff like that,
I'm envious because I've never had that. Like I've tried eating perfectly. I've tried doing cleanses. I've tried special diets. I've tried little bits of exercise. I've tried large amounts of exercise. I feel absolutely no change at all, so I might as well just sit here and do what I want, Well,
you're not particularly unhealthy. Look at you. You're vibrant. You're glowing.
Thank you. I don't know that most people would call me that, but yeah, thank you.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think you're not like a big fat guy like I am, that's part of it. Like, just even if you're not eating super healthily, you cook though. Like even just eating like your own cooked stuff as real foods, it's better than like eating fast food. This is what I always eat like constantly. It sucks. Another thing I should stop, but I don't know, whatever. It's hard to cook. It turns out. I've been making hummus. You ever make hummus?
I actually just did a few weeks ago and somehow put like 10 times the amount of salt in you're supposed to, so it was completely ruined. And I've just not been able to bring myself to try again now.
Yeah, that's rough, buddy. Yeah, I've made hummus twice now. It's fucking good, man. I bought hummus and it sucks shit, but I made it and it's so good.
What flavoring have you like? Garlic or what do you add to it?
So I made a sandwich for my sandwich contest on the Patreon. On the Patreon, we're also doing a pie contest. The pie contest is almost over. Get in now if you want to join the pie contest. The winner gets... Oh, that was such a weird audio glitch. Anyway, but yeah, so I made a sandwich in our last contest. And for the sandwich, I got pepperoncinis and I got roasted red peppers. And so for the hummus, I just tossed in a couple pepperoncinis. I tossed in a roasted red pepper, and boy, howdy, is it great. Like, oh, and also I do like two, not like measuring spoons, but we got these little spoons that Callie uses to scoop like minced garlic, because she buys minced garlic as opposed to fresh. And so I just like a couple spoons of that in there. So it's kind of like garlicky. It's got a half a lemon in it, for a nice zip. The pepperoncinis also add acidity and spice, and then the red peppers have that kind of more of a roasty kind of charred vegetable-y quality. Really, really good. And it's pretty easy to make. All you need is a blender, basically. And yeah, and it's, I'm sure it's not super healthy. It's like tahini and olive oil and stuff. So it's like a lot of fat, but it's unsaturated fats, I think. I don't know.
You talked a lot about the science behind food and cooking and things like that. Like, where did you pick this up from? Like, did you watch Good Eats and science-y cooking shows, or is this all self-taught, or like what's your backstory there?
I don't know, man. I just when I was a kid, my parents called me the sponge because I just absorb information. Like, it's hard to even know where it all comes from. But yeah, I loved Good Eats as a kid. I watched a lot of Food Network growing up. But I think more recently, like Samin Nosrat has the book and like Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, and she did a podcast for a little while. And just understanding the kind of dynamics of flavor and stuff, I think, goes a long way. But yeah, Serious Eats, Kenji Lopez Alt. I'm not like a big fan of Serious Eats, but I mean, I am a big fan, but I haven't checked out too much of it. But he gets pretty deep into the science, and there's another, DC Pearson had this podcast. I remember what it was called. He started it during the pandemic, and they just talked about food, and I think he talked to Kenji Lopez Alt, and he might have talked to someone else. But in that episode, they just went really deep on like food science, and I feel like it was something like that, like just one thing where people went really deep on food science, and the whole thing, just almost all of it stuck with me. And I can't even like summon the exact knowledge. I'm more, another thing I like to say is I'm more of a vibes guy. Like, I learn all this information, I absorb it, but I lose a lot of like detail and like specification, and I retain the kind of general vibe, the idea of the thing. And so like I think I just retain a lot of that part of the science, like acid does this, water does this, salt does this to meat, the Maillard reaction, I don't know, stuff like that. And I think once you know this kind of scientific basis, you can extrapolate a lot of how cooking does what happens with cooking. And it's just been, and I don't know. Also, when I cook, I approach it scientifically. Like, I don't just cook to eat like every day of my life. I'm not like cooking because it's like, oh, otherwise I won't have dinner. When I'm having fun, what I do is I like have a recipe that I want to learn, and I'll get enough stuff to make like 2 or 3 versions of the recipe, or like 2 or 3 iterations, and they'll just make it, and I'll be like, nah, that doesn't really work. And then like I'll try something else, and then usually by the second or third time I'll like land on like, no, this is how you do it. Okay, now I get it. Now I understand. This is why you don't melt the butter. This is why you do this here. And sometimes I make modifications for the recipes. Sometimes I combine different recipes. Online you can find 20 versions of the same basic recipe, and I just kind of look at all of them and see like, yeah, it definitely seems like sour cream is important for this dish, but they differ on the white pepper or whatever, and I kind of mush them together and make some sort of middle ground. And that's usually what I like. And it works, so it's just like, I think my approach to cooking is just kind of like this experimental, try and understand what works, what doesn't, and what's happening. I don't know.
You mentioned that, you listen to some cooking podcasts and things like that. I used to be the most crazy podcast listener, like basically from the moment I got out of bed and sat down at my desk until at night, I was listening to podcasts. I mean, everything. That's how I started listening to Harmontown originally. That's how I started doing all these things. But then the moment I started working on Harmontown, like professionally, I completely lost interest in every other podcast, and even Harmontown. Like I didn't listen to podcasts at all anymore. Do you find your listening and like just overall interests have changed since you became a content creator and on podcasts and things like that? Has your listening changed at all?
I don't think so. I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't think so. I will say that I usually just drive. My podcasting is like a function of driving. And lately, especially with the gas and stuff, I haven't been driving as much, and I'm like falling behind on my podcasts and stuff. And yeah, it's like I try to listen to podcasts at home, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't matter if they're headphones. It doesn't matter if I have like a speaker or just blasting it on my phone or whatever. It just like I just can't tune in. But like when I'm driving, I think your attention is a bit focused, and so it's easier to figure that out. But yeah, so but I've always been like, ever since I started listening to podcasts, when I was really depressed. They really got me out of my head. I have this problem with like inner demons, for lack of a better term, a lot of negative self-talk, negative voices in my head. That makes me sound crazy, but like my inner monologue is really exceedingly negative. It's just like we talked about it a bit on the last episode, but it's just like a torrent of self-hatred and stuff. And one of the only things I can do to get out of that is to to focus on other things. Like when I was a kid, I would like be on the internet and watching TV and playing like Game Boy Advance all at the same time. Like it would have 3 separate, because that's what it would take to like actually crush out those voices. If it was one thing, I would be doing the one thing and hating myself the whole time. But listening to podcasts is maybe one of the only things that when I'm focused on it, it does take that away. But it's also not completely. Like definitely I listen to podcasts, I'm like, what a piece of shit. You're such a piece of shit. I hope you die. Just the worst shit. So yeah, I don't know. I just had a quick story. We got some food to try, but quick story. I was driving around the other night. I want to say it was like Sunday night, maybe Monday night. I don't know. But I was driving around. I've been in the past, I would go south from where I live, go kind of like more into LA and stuff, in the outskirts, go to Griffith Park. But someone got hit on their bike and died in Griffith Park because, there's not protected bike lanes. People go really fast. I go really fast, but I try to pay attention. But so there's like a memorial put up on the side of the road where the person got hit, and then they put inside like speed limit signs, like the speed limit trackers. They're like, you're going too fast. And it just really it's really sad. So it's like I try to always go the speed limit now, just because I'm like, it just bums me out seeing all these reminders that someone died. But no one else does. But since then, I like have avoided Griffith Park and stuff, which is used to be where I drove around the most and stuff. But so I've been going north instead into like Sun Valley, and I was driving at like midnight, and just right, like maybe 30 feet away from me, there was like an explosion, like pow, but like a pop kind of explosion, kind of closer to a firework, like an M80 or something, but bigger, way bigger. And it was also in the air, and there was also a bright light. So like, about 50 feet away, again, maybe like 50 feet up in the air at night, just this white flash, big explosion, boom, like echoing. And then I was like, wait a second. When I was at home, I also heard these explosions, like randomly all the time. And, just last night, in fact, I heard about 12, 20 of them. And so it's like it's this thing I've heard. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Is it construction? I don't know. And then, then I'm driving around, and then it happens right next to me. And it was like above this kind of warehousey area, this fenced property. I don't know what it was, but it was like an industrial park kind of area. And so then I drive for another minute, and I'm like, I gotta turn around. I gotta go see what the fuck that was. And then like I go back, and then right in about the same exact place, it happens again. And this time I catch like a better glimpse of it, just not a light. I actually see it kind of looks like a street light or something, like a singular point of light, but off in the sky, again, less than 100 feet in the air, and then pow. And I'm like, what is this? It was like midnight. It didn't look like a firework, or at least not a normal firework, because it didn't have a display. It was just a white light that dissipated immediately upon popping, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But at the same time, I'm like, this is what I've been hearing for years now. And it was just really weird. And then I passed a cop who was like, just kind of like idling in the middle of a like side street. And I was like, maybe I should ask him, like, if he knows what that was, because he would have been there and heard it. And then I was like, nah, he's going to kill me. And then I left. And then the cop started following me. And who knows what would have happened. He probably would have finished the job. But anyway, this is just a random story. I don't have a lot to say, but that was one of the things that I had to say. I mean, apparently I do have a lot to say. No. At first I was like, I don't know. Sometimes like landfills have some sort of projectiles that they launch to kind of scare away seagulls and stuff. And sometimes those explode like they're supposed to explode. Sometimes they pop to emit a loud noise to scare away the seagulls. And I was like, maybe it's something like that. But it was industrial. It wasn't like a landfill. It was like in a warehouse. And then I was like, is it like people setting off fireworks? But then why would they do it constantly? Like if this was a prank, they just are doing this for literally over a year. And now that I know where it is, it's like definitely where I was hearing it was coming from that general direction. I don't know if it's in the same spot, but so yeah, I have no idea. I now that I know, I think I'm gonna go try and cruise around there more and see if I can like zoom in on it a little bit.
We need
It's
to
just
stake
weird.
that out and just record video constantly.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a private eye. I'm too big, I'm too conspicuous. Like, it's important to kind of blend in to be a private eye because you do a lot of stakeouts and you don't want to be noticeable. If someone's like, wow, is that the same guy sitting in the car outside my house the past 3 days? Like, that's not good. And I am kind of recognizable. I'm a big fat guy with a crazy beard and hairstyle. Someone recognized me through my mask when I was at 7-Eleven. They were like, "Are you Spencer?" And or no, first they were like, "Is your name Spencer?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." It was like, "Are you Spencer?" And I was like, "Oh, no, that's what I meant. Yeah, no, I'm that person. Yes." And then they're like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Wow, you're the first person who recognized me through a mask," which, I'm not in public very often. So I was just surprised because I don't think, obviously I cut a profile, but I don't think my eyes are like my distinguishing factor. So it was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, we got to stake it out. I'll figure it out. Like I said, I am going to go cruise around. I want to actually catch it in the act and maybe get it on film or something just to have it. Like, it just seems like something to do. But we try food on this podcast, Kevin.
We do.
And boy, howdy, do I have a Tumblr post for you. There's a Tumblr post where someone said if you combined Gatorade, lime cucumber, also known as limon pepino. Oh, they changed it to lime cucumber and pepino limon. They used to call it limon pepino, which I always just thought sounded funny, like limon pepino. Like, I don't know, it's just like a great phrase, but pepino limon doesn't hit the same thing. But lime cucumber, great Gatorade. If you combine that with Mike's Harder Cranberry, you get a flavor that is like no flavor, apparently. That's what the Tumblr post said. And I was like, oh my God, Kevin, we got to try this. Kevin also sent me some more crazy sodas
for the last week.
You are?
Since Spencer mentioned this, because I researched this a little bit more, and there are a lot of posts of people just saying like this, the flavor of whatever this is, when you mix these two flavors together, will break your brain.
Right. It'll break your brain. So you might witness a total disintegration of sanity before you. This may be
the last episode of this podcast, if this is real.
I hope so. I like doing the podcast, but I'm depressed, and so now I don't want to do anything for the rest of my life until I get better. Sometimes I wonder if I'm bipolar. I got some bipolar blood in my family, so I don't know. I don't think I am. I don't think I'm bipolar. I'd be more bipolar if I was. Like, I'm not hitting. Like, I mostly stay just depressed the whole time. I don't really feel like it gets super manic. But I got my immersion blender cup. Measuring cup, because it said to do half and half. I don't know if they were really measuring or whatever, but I want to actually, get the proportions right. So I'm going to go 6 ounces and 6 ounces. What about you, Kevin?
I'm just eyeballing it right now, but I'm doing it right now. I just poured it, and somehow, okay, so I mixed the two together, and it's still the same color as the cranberry. Like, I don't think the green affected it whatsoever. So we've got, for those listening, Mike's Harder Cranberry, which is kind of a reddish color. And the cucumber lime Gatorade, which is a green, but you mix them together, it's still cranberry colored. Yeah,
so there's a lot of yellow in the green, and red is more of an intense flavor in terms of, what do you call it, subtractive color. But I'm going to put in the lemonade, or I guess it's cranberry first, so I can like mix up the cranberry with the I don't know. That's some pseudoscience bullshit.
But smelling
about it, does it smell like nothing?
Smells like cucumber.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is cucumber is such this like scent note. Like, it has a flavor, but it's more of like a scent kind of flavor in my mind. Like, cucumber, because it's like this cooling kind of watery. Cooling, I think, is a good description for it. Definitely, people say refreshing. Mine looks even darker and redder than yours. So, all
right, you go first.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna go first. I'm going first. Talk them through it. Talk us through it.
So Spencer's like looking at the glass.
I'm gonna actually
like it's a magic potion.
It is. I'm swizzling it with a swizzle stick, which is an untwisted twist tie. So, just like McGonagall used to do, or Snape, I guess. Whatever. All right.
Okay, so he's tasting it now. He looks deep in thought, a little confused, a little angry, maybe.
Yeah, so you get the metallic taste, which I associate with cranberry, has a bit of a metallic taste. You get the alcohol, and what's weird is I feel like this is maybe like an illusion or something, because I am actually getting both sides of it. Like they are muted and kind of muddled, and so you don't get it too much, but I'm somehow getting meaty notes, like kind of like a meaty kind of umami flavor somehow. It's got to be like my brain just getting mixed up or something. You want to try it?
Yeah. Me.
All right. He's giving a nice little sippy. I mean, I find it very pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that if I tasted this, it would have been remarkable enough for me to make a Tumblr post about it.
Yeah, we were texting that we half expected it to just be nothing to write home about. I think, yeah. No, I think it's just, yeah, it's this meaty. To me, it's like it tastes like blood or something. You know, maybe send this to Dr. Michael Morbius, I think, you know. But it does, like the cranberry and the metallic, and then the kind of salt of the Gatorade, I think kind of makes it taste more like a bodily fluid of some sort rather than like any recognizable, discernible combination of flavors. But you do get both sides of it, I think, you know. And yeah, and like you said, I don't know that I write a Tumblr post, but this is what separates us from, you know, people that are online. Man, I go on TikTok all the time. People are just saying the dumbest shit, and it's like, you really think this is like, and it's not like they're wrong because they're getting engagement and stuff, but it's like, this isn't worth saying. Like, why you just made a video of you just in your room being like, and it's like, but who cares? Why did you think that was worth doing? Like, I don't know. You know, that's why I'm a failure and these people are successes, because they just have this like, oh yeah, no, I'm good. But I mean, I guess I have that too. I have a podcast and I don't fucking do anything, for God's sake. But, you know, I don't know. It just, to me, it just is like, what makes you so special? Not even that. It's just like, why do you think this is worth spending time on? I don't know. I wish I had that though. You know?
Yeah, no, I kind of feel like we got scammed a little bit. I mean, it is unusual. I'm not going to say it's not a little weird, but it's no more weird than just picking two random things from a liquor store and mixing them together.
I think it is this kind of bottle. It tastes like ball sweat or something. Like there's this weird organic kind of wrong flavor to it. You know, the Tumblr post called it the flavor, and I feel like it was very unclear at the time what they meant by that. But I think it's like yeah, it tastes like human or something. Like, I don't know, and it doesn't. But I think it's the electrolytes and then the cucumber lime, and then the metallic notes that just kind of combine to create this. This kind of, what do you call it? I don't know. You want to try these separately though?
Yeah, sure. Let's see if how they feel on their own.
Let's try hard cranberry first, so I can wash it down.
Okay, Spencer's tasting it. Oh, he looks very unhappy with this.
Oh, it's alcohol. I forgot. I keep forgetting these alcoholic drinks contain alcohol. I don't think it's bad, but the alcohol makes it bad. You know, it's just, I don't know. What do you think? You consume
that would have been a good fizzy cranberry drink if it didn't have the alcohol in it.
Yeah, like the flavor is there, and you know, I've had Mike's Hard Lemonade. I think it's good. You know, as far as like those beverages go, I haven't tried the other flavors, but I figure they're probably fine. But yeah, I don't know. It's not bad, but I don't like alcohol, you guys. And this is 8% alcohol. That's like more. I guess it's harder as opposed to hard, right? But that seems like higher than, you know, I don't know.
It's a very big can for it being that strong.
Yeah. I used to drink Steel Reserve. Talking about fucking horrible. Just the worst fucking. You ever have Steel Reserve?
I don't think I ever have, no. So if it's that horrible, why were you drinking it?
Because you just drink to get fucked up, and I didn't try other beers. So like kind of the two beers that I ever had were like Steel Reserve, which my friends also drank it, so that was part of it. Just because like, oh, I'll just get what they're getting, and also Miller High Life. And Miller High Life was definitely way better, but I don't know. I guess I like the can maybe of the Steel Reserve, but yeah. Kevin's going for the Limon Pepino. What do you think?
It's very cucumbery, and it's not that I dislike cucumber. There's something weird about my tongue in that if you put one cucumber on a sandwich, that's all I taste is cucumber. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I dislike it. It's just it's very overpowering for me. And it tastes incredibly strongly like cucumber. Like
Yeah.
it tastes like I'm sucking on cucumber right now. But that's kind of what it says it's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't really taste the lime notes, but I'm sure they're there.
Yeah, there's some subtle lemon, or some subtle citrus kind of note. Yeah, but for sure, the cucumber is a lot more present. I think it's a lot more present than it used to be too. Maybe that's why it's lime cucumber and not cucumber lime. I don't know. You got any sound cues for us?
Yeah, I think I do here.
So, as I was about to launch into one of my famous rants, this one's about the true threat to all of society that you need to be aware of, otherwise you will fall prey. Of course, I'm talking about the purple people eaters. The one-eyed, one-horned? I'm so fucking drunk, you guys. Jesus Christ. We gotta not drink alcohol on the show anymore.
I feel like that does to us what the soda was doing to Jeff.
Right. Yes. That's so true. We're on the opposite sides of the spectrum. Yeah, I feel like I'm turning red. No, I'm overstating it for sure, but it is like I am, it's not every day that I drink alcohol. I forget what it's even like. And this is what it's like. Anyway, one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eaters. They sure look strange to me. Kevin's just not going to find this, I don't think.
It's gone. I don't know why it's not here.
It's gone. It's not like any of this matters anyway. It's not going to make it a good show. But I'm still pissed. So that's our show, everybody. What do we got? I don't know, you guys. I would say follow me on Patreon, but it's like it doesn't even matter. I don't think no one cares about the Patreon. Every month I'm like, oh, I got to do something that'll make the fans happy, and then like I can't tell if anyone's watching it. I can't tell if anyone likes any of the stuff. I get the sense that I could do literally nothing and the needle and no one would stop. It's not like I'm not appreciative. Oh my God. It's not like I'm not appreciative. It's just like I don't know. I want to deliver on expectations, and I have no idea what the expectations are. So please let me know what to expect. And that's the show. What about you, Kevin? You got anything?
If you're watching us live, stick around for the Best Channel 101, and then Real Life Sci-Fi at 7:15 Pacific, 10:15 Eastern, with Jonah Ray as our guest tonight. And if you're not watching this live, come join us every Sunday night on the evil Discord at schwabhomevideo.com. Watch all these shows live, talk about Spencer where he can't see you, and come back next week.
Just know I have spies. It's not the evil Discord, it's the bad Discord. But I do have spies, and it will filter back to me somehow. But yeah, Jonah Ray, man, we should get him on the show sometime. That sounds like great. And as always, we like to end the show the same way every time. And so, as we always say, I'm going to go throw up now.
Starbane's Audio.